Hi there again, it's Sally with Stories. This time I'm doing an online presentation of a book by one of my favourite authors. Her name is Tanishka, the Moon Woman, and she's written this amazing book called The Grail, The Lies, the Truth, the Answers. It's a beautiful book, it's full of wisdom and little snippets of information, little signposts along the way to help you lead a more fulfilled life and negotiate your own path through our journey and through your journey. Okay, so this passage I'm going to read, how men have been oppressed, and I'm hoping she'll, at the end of her explanation, will also tell you about a men's retreat she's running over in Ireland. A lovely, lovely place to be, holding a retreat. So here we go. How men have been oppressed. Patriarchy is not simply a culture where men rule women. It's a social paradigm where the masculine traits and values are elevated and the feminine traits and values are diminished and devalued. In such an unbalanced culture, everyone suffers in different ways. For women whose feminine side is external, the oppression has been overt with a lack of external rights, such as lower pay rates and an expectation to do the lion's share of volunteer and domestic work. Due to an unconscious belief, women should work for free out of the goodness of their hearts, asking nothing in return. This is not sustainable and reveals how the mother archetype is projected on the collective feminine by the immature masculine in both men and women. Women have also been denied a voice in decision-making, from the withholding of the vote to a lack of equal representation in positions of authority. Those who do gain access to worldly power only do so if they repress their feminine traits and become masculine dominant. Only then can they gain access to the power brokers' boys' club. Whereas for men whose feminine side is internal, the oppression has been covert. The more a man embodies feminine traits and values within a patriarchy, the more he is marginalized, discriminated against, and persecuted. I'm going to now pass you over to Tanishka for her take on this passage which she wrote, and you can make up your own minds. Over to you.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, the Cultural Revolution of the 60s saw, understandably, women, out of the civil rights movement sort of going, well, hang on a minute, we don't have any rights, we need to galvanise. But what we've also seen is a swing back where men have become the scapegoats. It's actually, people call reverse racism or reverse sexism. Racism is racism, sexism is sexism. But what goes in one direction, of course, swings to the other way.
Yep.
And I suppose I want to make the point that there is no victor of patriarchy. That the white male has not won. In fact, if we look at the suicide rate, 75 to 80% of suicides are male.
Yes.
And there's more suicides in the West than there is in the Eastern cultures, which are the masculine dominant cultures. So that immediately shows us that just on statistics alone, men haven't benefited from patriarchy.
No.
In fact, they're trying to proudly keep up this idea of stoicism, you know, rather than admitting, hey, Houston, we've got a problem. The men are suffering, the men are hurting, and they don't quite know what to do about it. Women tend to organise themselves and network, and they're very resourceful. It's one of the positive traits of the mother archetype. So when it comes to getting our needs met, we will find a way through community.
Yes.
Whereas men tend to suffer in isolation and in silence if they haven't developed feminine traits within themselves, which is why the Holy Grail retreat, which men used to do in the ancient world over Yule, over the winter solstice, because it's the darkest, shortest day, i.e. the most feminine time on the seasonal wheel. And if a man hasn't developed those feminine traits within himself, he's at risk of suicide, because, you know, the feminine part of us, when she's empowered, she's accepting of us, she's encouraging of us, you know, she's like the healing balm for the critical mind, the dark father, the dark lord, you know, whether you know him as Darth Vader or the Holy King, as he was known in the ancient Celtic tradition. So, you know, this is why women Magdalens would help facilitate men through this process in the Green Chapel, i.e. the forest, a very feminine place, to help men to develop more emotional resilience, more self-acceptance, to be able to explore their unhealed self, the part that they feel ashamed of and judgmental of, and find the jewels in it, find the wisdoms so they can integrate their shadow. And this is the shamanic work of the feminine. So midwinter, if we think about women are ruled by the moon, we have a 28-day cycle usually when we're fertile, like the moon does. But men are solar, so when the sun's at its lowest ebb, that's when they're most impacted. And seasonal affective disorder affects men and women who are masculine dominant.
Right.
You know, so women that are perhaps working in the corporate, you know, 9 to 5, really are more masculine. So, this ancient rite of passage was the preventative measure for suicide. And given the suicide rates we have right now, we really need to reinstate it. You know, the Fisher King, the Grail parable speaks about how man and the land are one, and that when the male psyche is wounded, the land perishes. And we can see the land is toxic and men are killing themselves. And those that aren't doing it via suicide are often doing it slowly by drinking themselves to death, or their self-care is poor, you know. So, there's a retreat that I'm running for the first time, as far as I know, is reinstating what was the Holy Grail, this rite of passage to support men through their dark night. And that's happening the 19th to the 22nd of December in Ireland. And if people are interested to know more about that, maybe we can include a link with this, but you can go to thegrail.com. It's the-grail.com.
Good. Well, I hope you've gained something from that, and perhaps talk to and encourage your men to open up, because I think we are reaching a crisis in our society, and well, we're all in need of help, but as Tanishka says, women are much better at helping themselves and each other than our male counterparts. So heed the rallying call, girls, and let's put us back to humanity, a humanness where we are all one under the same umbrella. So I hope you'll join me next time I've got one more passage to read from this amazing book and one more chat to this lovely lady, and please join me for that. See you soon. Bye.